What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Coogs Take. I'm Adrian Romero, joined by Marc and Andrea Nava. How are y'all today?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Really excited to get to these topics that we have lined up. I definitely want to hear your opinions on. And first off, we're going to go with the upcoming UFC 266 event. Why don't we get started with that one? And more specifically, how y'all feel about that Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler rematch? First meeting back in 2004 was basically all Diaz, right? From the beginning. Ended about 2 minutes into the second round, full of taunting, full of trash talk. And after the 20-year-old knocked down Lawler, the ref had to call the fight. More recently, Diaz has been on a 6-year hiatus from the octagon, partying it up, but a lot of people still think he's going to be a problem, including Lawler himself. Marc, what do you think is going to happen in this unofficial main event of the evening?
Well, first off, I'm kind of worried just because it's been so long for Nick. It's been 5 years. I thought to myself, I was a freshman in high school. The last time he fought against Anderson Silva, and I'm a senior in college. So it's been that much of a time period. But it's different this time around. They fought in 2004, which was when I was 4 years old. Just putting it out there. They fought 2004, and so now they were kids back then. Now they're grown men. They have families.
So what do you think about their mentality, like going into a fight after so long?
I feel like it's a bit different than the first time around. Nick was trash talking during the fight, saying things that I can't say on camera. But it's gonna be kind of weird just because we found out recently that Nick is teaching kids. You know what I mean? He's a more matured person, so I'm not sure we'll see that same trash talk this time around.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. Nick is someone who recently just said, he doesn't like that persona of him, being projected out into the public like that, partying and being negative in the public eye, something he doesn't want to do anymore. So maybe, his maturity level has definitely increased since then, as well as, his skills, his technicality, same thing with Lawler. So I think it's going to be exciting to see new mature faces in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the flow of the fight will be a little different. Both of them were coming at each other really quickly, starting out the first fight. After the first fight, they've had many wars and battles. So I'm sure this time around they'll be more patient, find their shots, not swing too heavy in the first couple rounds. And I feel like the last couple rounds is when they really pick it up. And I'm also worried about Robbie Lawler because he's not the same Robbie Lawler that we saw win the title a few years back. The last couple of fights, he's been kind of hesitant on throwing his hands. So he changed camps a couple fights ago. And it's kind of been like a different mindset for him. He's in the end game of his career, that I believe. And so it'll be interesting to see if Nick, is patient and Robbie's patient. But yeah.
So who do you have winning the whole thing?
That's a difficult one. I'm gonna have to go with Nick. I think,
same here, yeah.
I'm not sure it'll be the same result in terms of like a knockout. I think it'll be a decision.
Yeah, you're right.
Just because they're both patient, but I got Nick. 5 rounds.
I agree. No, I agree. 100%.
Well, if Nick wins, I'm sure it'll be a big party. So anyways, moving on to the NFL, Brady is looking as surgical as ever. And like I said, faces are changing in the game. And I think the NFL is no different with some new names making big waves. Are there any other notable takeaways y'all seen throughout the first 2 weeks? And by the way, who do y'all see making it to that big game in February as of right now? Andrea, start us.
Well, I think the Texans took everyone by surprise. I don't think they're going to make it to February, but I think the start of the season really gave us some motivation that we didn't know we were going to get in the first part of the season. I think the injury of our starting quarterback is going to set us back a bit. We're going to have to let younger players come in and fill in that role, which is going to, take a lot for us to get comfortable with, to build around that, but I think we'll push through.
And Tyrod Taylor had a great first game. He was really electrifying, and second game came out, pulled his hamstring. So in came Davis Mills, our rookie quarterback, and I feel like he still has a lot to learn. He still, I feel like he rushed a little bit of things, overthrowing some receivers, just making bad decisions overall. And so I feel like he just has to, be patient, read the defense a little bit better, and just make better decision making. And that comes with time, comes with games. This is just his first year, so I'm sure the rest of the games that we have in the strength of opponents, he'll learn pretty quickly.
Yeah, Texans are cool, but what about Cam Newton being dropped and that new rookie QB in New England taking over? Where's Cam Newton end up? What's going on with that?
I was kind of surprised by that, honestly. Why? Because I feel like Cam had enough time in the league where he could take that number one spot, and Mac Jones could wait it out a little bit, maybe a year, maybe a couple of games. He's a rookie too coming in, and so I didn't think it would be that quick, for him to be in the starting position. But Cam is not on the team anymore, and so I'm not sure where he would end up. Cam, I feel like Cam still has a few years left. But it's just up to whoever decides to pick him up.
Yeah, I think Mac's looking hot, but who's going to the Super Bowl?
I've got Tampa and Arizona, to be honest. Those are some teams that I thought I would never say really until the last couple of years, but Tampa has proven themselves over the last couple of seasons, I think, and Arizona, obviously not being biased with JJ, but they're pretty solid in my eyes as well.
Yeah, Tampa's got that one QB. Forgot his name. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, that's great picks, Andrea. The Cardinals, they have JJ on defense. They also have DeAndre Hopkins in offense with Kyler Murray. So, the last two games, Kyler Murray has went off against defenses.
I agree. No, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and the dude has quick feet, so he's been beating everybody up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals made the Super Bowl. But it'll be kind of difficult to do that with the Buccaneers up there as well. Tom Brady is around 44 years old right now.
That was his name.
Around there, around 44, 43. And so I feel like he still has a couple years left too. I mean, he could go to 50. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is not slowing down anytime.
I don't know about that, to be honest.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's
What?
a lot of individual skills you can have, but you can only have them out there, working for you for so long.
Right.
I think his time is coming up.
You think how many years do you think he has left?
He's got to hang up the boots within the next 3 years, I think.
Okay.
I mean, it's either going to be a personal decision or he's going to get injured. A body can't withstand that much.
You want to make that a bet? Let's make it a bet. I got 50 years old.
I'm not going to bet against his health, no.
I think with cryogenics, anything is possible, but there is this other game some people call football. Most of y'all probably know it as soccer, right? So with the European Championship tournament finished, what about Italy's team had them holding up the trophy, for the second time, since 1968? Andrea, what's going on with that?
I think it's very obvious and very interesting the way that Italy decides to harness their attacking midfield. You have three players in the mid that are the engine of this team. You've got Jorginho as a center defensive mid who's very effective, and then you have Verratti to his left, you got Barella to his right. And so it's very easy for that mid to also stretch out your defensive line outside in order for players like Immobile and them to sneak in and score the goals. I think it's very effective, clearly.
Right.
And it got through England, and I can't wait to see more of this underrated underdog in the World Cup coming up as well. And yeah.
Marc, you look like you have a lot to say. Can you add anything to that?
If it's the second time since 1968 for Italy to have a championship, I'll be happy as a fan. You know what I mean?
It's been a long time coming. It really has been. So I don't think a lot of people were upset when they won. I really don't. I haven't met a lot of people that were upset that Italy took it home instead of England.
Yeah, I'm part Italian. I feel a little bit of pride. It's good news. But some people talking about a biennial World Cup. It's changing it from every 4 years to every 2 years. Now, a lot of people aren't really into the idea. Andrea, how do you feel about it?
I think it's a terrible idea. I think a lot of people as well think it's just as bad. First of all, you're cutting the time short for players to rest. The cycle in itself is 4 years. You've got a World Cup, you've got an Olympics, you got World Cup qualifying, Olympic qualifying. You've still got Champions League, club teams, international friendlies, tournaments and whatnot. You barely have enough time for these players to rest within those 4 years in itself, let alone 2 more. So how are you going to do that? They're not robots. These players are not robots, and it's going to cut their performance short. You're going to get choppy soccer. You're going to get, you're not going to also be able to introduce new technical skills. You're not going to be able to have this new creative play, your style of play. Federations aren't going to be able to expand their style of play because their time is cut so short that they're not going to want to risk anything before performing in a World Cup. So not only is the football itself going to be bad in the quality, the players' physical quality will also not work with a biennial World Cup, in my opinion.
What would y'all tell someone who's like, hey, soccer players run on average about 10 miles per game, their stamina has no problem, what's the difference 2 years? Well, who cares?
I would tell them to put the cleats on and to do it themselves, because it's not something easy at all. I don't think you see any professional soccer player, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's very hard on their bodies, and not just their physical health, but their mental health. You know, they're going to be spending more time with their teams, you know, every 2 years preparing for that instead of getting that rest mentally and physically.
Marc, as a fan, you think watching soccer every 2 years is worth putting these athletes through the stresses Andrea just described? Or
As a fan, I mean, for me personally, like it'll be nice to see every 2 years, you know, a tournament. But at the end of the day, like a body can only withstand so much. And I feel like every 2 years, you know, if they do it every 2 years, that, you know, there's a body would just give up on them. You know what I mean? So I agree with Andrea.
yeah, it'd be hard to clean up all those players off the field. That's all we got today. Andrea, Marc, thanks for sharing your thoughts on today's topics. But make sure you let us know what you think in the comments, okay? I'm Adrian Romero, and thanks again for watching today's episode of Coogs Take.